Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Clemente. Alongside with me are two of my fellowship brothers. Right below me is CHUBAX. How are you doing?
Still exhausted, but having fun.
And below him is the man from the West Coast, Arnie.
Hi, hello there.
Eh, Again, if this is your first time in our channel, thank you very much for the view. We urge you to get everybody's phone, laptop, desktop, log on to youtube.com/plus 63HP. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow this community of like-minded individuals that like good content. And if you want to interact with us, we are also on all the socials. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with the handle at +63HP. And good news, if you don't like seeing our mugs, if you don't want to watch this video on demand, we are on your favorite podcasting app. Our favorites are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon, but whatever you're on, Pandora, whatnot, will be there as well. Just search +63HP. Every week, we have a bunch of different shows. On Wednesdays, we dropped our first D&D campaign. So us best friends, middle-aged people who have never played D&D before. We started last year. We are still doing it. We're still having an immense amount of time, immense amount of fun with our time playing D&D. We record that. We upload it over Wednesday for posterity, but also for you guys to join our adventure. On Thursdays, we curate a list of clips, short videos, trailers, anything that we want to assess our hype levels with. So if you want to see what's coming down the pipe in the near future, join us in reacting to these clips and trailers and see how hype we should be for said content. On Fridays, CHUBAX and our other best friend, RJ, cannot get enough of D&D, so they spun a second campaign where they are the bad guys. So those episodes drop most Fridays. But these episodes, on Mondays and Tuesdays, we drop our reviews episode where we deep dive into a TV show or a movie, provide our opinions, provide detailed synopsis or not so detailed synopsis, and then provide our rating on how much we like these particular pieces of content. So you can be informed whether you should watch it by yourself, with your friends, and with your family. This particular episode, we are discussing a show that has kind of like captivated my imagination. The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, the last two episodes, episode 7 and episode 8. Before I turn the synopsis over to CHUBAX, a little bit of a spoiler warning. We can't discuss the episode without actually discussing the episode. So if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, episode 7 or 8, or the entire series, but want to listen to this podcast, we suggest you hit pause for a little bit, go watch the entire series with us, come back and discuss these particular episodes because it's going to be a fun one. So, spoiler warning done. We're going to run through a quick synopsis and provide you with what we thought about the last two episodes of the Rings of Power. So take it away, CHUBAX.
So we get the episode 7, The Eye, after the great episode last week of episode 6 of Udun. We start with the aftermath of the volcanic eruption. I did like the color palette here, the
Yep.
orange.
Orange and red.
Orange,
Ooh.
yeah, it looked really good. Nothing, it's like nothing I've seen before. So
We've
they
seen that
really,
in California. that that orange sky, man. Yeah.
so we just see the aftermath here. Lots of people dead. Isildur dying, trying to save.
Yeah.
Who did he try
Dying.
to
Wink
save?
wink.
Dying.
Just people. He was trying to save some people trapped in a barn or in a house, and then the queen. Well, is she a queen? She's just like the regent, right?
Queen
Queen
Regent.
Regent.
Yeah. So the regent losing her eyesight. One of their best friends dying. The one of the three the two one of the two guys that Isildur's really close
Very
to.
close to it.
Um.
Antomo.
What else? And then we get some scenes with Galadriel and Theo trying to get back to the try to escape some orcs, and then Elendil with his grief of losing his son, finding the horse. So they're traveling to the camp, and then later Galadriel will follow. We get a little scene with Elendil trying to regret bringing Galadriel. Um, and then we go. They find Arondir is fine and Bronwyn. They get reunited with Theo. Uh, Nice scene with Theo also being close to Arondir also. I think it's his
Mhm.
son, right? His son. I mean, from
I
the color
think
of the
so.
skin, it looks like his son.
Uh,
I don't think so.
if we see the ears, we know.
I don't think so.
Do we see
A brown skin
another
guy. Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen a
brown
brown
or
skin
black
guy in the
skin
Southlands,
guy?
but yeah.
And the thing is, come on, Aaron Deere and Bronwyn smashed. Come on,
Yeah,
it's Tolkien, so we don't talk about it. But
I
you
know.
know, come on.
We do that scene was a little bloody though when he came into the tent. That was like a little. I
Ooh, yeah.
mean, I was surprised with how much blood and gore they showed there. Anyways, uh, we go also to the Harfoots. We get another back and
Harfoots.
forth with Nori being scared of the stranger, and then the caravan. I still don't like this caravan where whoever gets left behind. Like a fuck 'em. That seems like kind of
I
counterproductive in my mind.
yeah,
Like,
but counterproductive from what we talk about it, but that is true to protect the group, right?
Hmm.
Like, hey,
I don't know. I mean, helping a little bit. I mean, going out of your way to make to sacrificing something to help someone. Yeah, maybe, but I mean, you could help a little bit, like moving a little
Hmm.
something to just leaving them. They're fucked if they're left behind. Like, come on. And then uh so wait, and they punished Nori by putting her right in the back. Who was in the back
Mhm.
before she was punished? Was it somebody else that was punished? Like, were they just like
or
fuck?
just like the people that are left behind.
Like so. Anyways, they find one of the places they were going to go to that was supposed to be flush with food burnt because of the mountain exploding, and apparently none of them knows what a volcano is, so they just had the story about a mountain spewing fire ash or fire rocks. So the stranger tries to heal the tree, unsuccessful at the start, and then but when they wake up the next day, it's flush with food and green, and then uh we get the trio of strangers who's trying to look for the stranger who crashed, and I don't know if it was confirmed before that they were bad guys, but this one, when they came in and Nori tries to distract them,
To burn the
uh,
entire
they
shit down.
burned all their food, which is like really
Yeah, I was
unnecessary,
like,
Like,
you are bad guys.
so
Okay.
yeah, and then so Nori sets off to try and warn the stranger, and we get another homage to the "you have my axe, you have my bow" scene with
Yeah,
every Poppy and the others following her.
the mom and then the sad
The
up.
mom, yeah.
You're gonna die anyways. Doesn't matter.
And then we go back to Casa Doom, and Elrond tries to negotiate with King Durin, and
We're in the third, right?
then but during the third, but he declines. And then we see that Mithril does help with that rotting thing on the tree. So during the fourth, uh, goes against his father's wishes and calls Elrond back and try to mine. And then they do find that uh, it's more
Mother
than they
load.
even thought.
Yeah.
But during the third, just had enough and strips him of his being of royalty. But then we see the Balrog at the bottom waking up, and that's when
Yes.
ends episode 7. That's how it ends, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think no. I think wait. I think
That's
the
the
episode ends
episode
with
ending with the
think-
Balrog. The
no.
Balrog
The episode
reveal.
ends with Adar. The episode ends with Adar,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think they kind of messed this editing up. They they show Adar and then or the orc celebrating, and then they talk to him
Mm.
and then, what do we call it? And then they shout Adar, and then we get the look
Yeah.
a scene of the mountain, and then it just in the words the
Changes,
Southland
yeah.
changes to
Southland
border.
changes
It
to
would have
border.
been better if he said it, or it's like for me. I mean, personally, I think it would have been better if he said it. Was they changed because
Yeah.
he already
Yeah.
asked what do we call this land?
I
And
don't
then
think he
didn't
knows.
I don't think he knows.
I don't think he
No, I
knows
know.
what's
So
gonna be called yet.
who named Mordor? But what they did?
Oh, we'll know who in the next episode.
We'll
who
know in the
came.
next episode.
We'll
No,
name
no,
it
but
Mordor,
who
but
named?
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, but why did the I mean that's just like the timing of it is
Yeah.
off. They didn't have to
Yeah, I
show it
mean,
like that
yeah,
because they could have just ended it with like, yeah, who what do we name it? And Adar doesn't know because we already
Mhm.
know, so
Yeah.
they didn't have to show it like that. So, anyways, and then so Galadriel brings Halbrand to Eregion. This is again with help with Wikipedia. Halbrand gives so he's immediately healed, and then he's immediately
too
Sauron.
convenient.
It's so obvious already. Once he talked to Celebrimbor, it was like 100%. It's done. Like,
yep.
I knew he was Sauron, and then but I think the timing was they've the three find the stranger first, right, and then they call him
Yeah.
Sauron. So
And I was like, I was
That
pissed.
was a
I was
I
pissed.
smelt that was kind of like a misdirect
already
already,
Yeah.
which is fine. Yeah,
So so they find him and then they say that he's Sauron, and he kind of accepts it because he accidentally harmed Nori or once, but Nori came out fine. I don't know, like she got hurt, but when she flew away with the ice, her hand was fine. So I don't know why
yeah.
there's too much grief there. But I guess he's scared of his powers. Which, if you're foggy, it makes sense. And then this one I just found this funny. Like as soon as we know that Halbrand is suspicious and
Mephisto.
like Sauron, for some reason Galadriel also notices. She turns so
It's the
fast. Like,
speech. It's the
the line
about
the
power
of
beyond the flesh.
Okay.
Yeah, power beyond the flesh. Yeah,
Beyond the flesh.
Yeah. So she
And it's a
finds that.
gift. There's the callback to Boromir. It's a gift.
So
It's not really a
they,
gift.
So she tries somebody to research about the lines of the Southlands, and finds that it's been cut, so it's not him. So he confronts him, and then he reveals that he's Sauron. I mean, he's the king of the Southland. What is Southland? It's Mordor. So it's not like they were hiding it. It was like,
Technically, he wasn't lying.
yeah.
nobody has had that sigil for 1,000 years. He was there 1,000 years ago. Pretty much him. So he
So
And he did say, I
he
took
did
it
look
from a dead
charming,
man.
and I
He
did
can.
like how he looked.
I love that part where he was saying like, I never lied.
And
I told you
said
directly.
I did bad things. You said it is okay.
I did
or
bad
not the
things.
past.
I did. I told
I
you.
also was like I was also like you, like he is kind of correct, but then if you think about it, he's manipulating her. He knows
100%.
he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. So it's not like if this was genuine, then I know I would agree with him. But then we know he's baiting her or trying to trick her. So we get a nice scene with Nori trying to save the stranger. We get a nice fight scene there, reminiscent of Gandalf versus Saruman.
Amazing fight scene.
And then
We lose Sadok.
he gets stabbed, but in the end Nori was able to grab the staff and give it to the stranger, and he fucks them up. And I missed it. What happened to the staff? Disintegrate or
It
something?
disappears.
It disintegrates. 'Cause
Okay,
it's
so-
it's part of their
It's not
powers,
his.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's probably not attuned to him, so or good or to light or his power, so it got fucked
Yeah.
up. And so it's revealed that he's an Istari or a wizard, and then back in
It's
Aragorn,
Dumbledore.
Girl, I didn't like Galadriel's turn here after she found out. I mean, she's hiding it from Elrond. I don't know why. What's the point of hiding it from Elrond?
Because
It's
because if Elrond figured out, so this is my, I thought about that a while. I
Mhm,
saw this episode twice back to back. Um, she didn't. She thought that she was initially she was going to stop the creation of the crown, two
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
crowns, right? That was the initial intent. But between waking up from the water and walking towards the tower, instead of stopping, she was already corrupted by the power, saying that, all right,
mhm.
instead of stopping the power which would have solved everything, I'm going to control it. And you control it by splitting into like one
Three.
Three.
corrupts,
One
Two
corrupts,
two
divides.
divides,
two divides,
three is balance,
balances. Yeah.
right? So that's what I thought. And my take here is Elrond would have stopped the creation of the crowns
Yeah.
if she found out that we all assumed that when
But then
Elrond
he did.
saw the scroll, it was
Yeah.
Sauron. Like Halbrand was Sauron,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
And the thing too is like they still need to create that power to stay in Middle Earth, because otherwise they would have to leave and leave
Exactly,
Middle
exactly.
Earth basically becomes Mordor or
Yeah,
healed, right?
they don't have any way to one without the crown to start. They
Hmm.
won't. They all the elves will die because
Yeah.
of the tree. So they need to save the tree first, and then secondarily, after the tree, they have to address the problem that is brewing in the south, which is Mordor as well.
Yeah.
So
And then
that's
we also
And
kind
also
of
killed.
skipped the Numenor where Elendil and the Queen come back to Numenor and find the king
Dead.
dead. I think that was it
Dead.
Mhm.
for them. Um, and
But
then
yeah,
they
we'll
make the
discuss it later.
rings, and then
Which is so
Sadok
cool.
dies. The Harfoots, uh, the stranger and Nori go back, but they decide to depart. I really wished Poppy was going with them, and but it was only Nori. Uh,
Well, Poppy was the remaining tracker.
Yeah,
uh,
because she kind of like knows how to do the tracking thing
Yeah,
with the Zadok.
she's
Yeah,
technically their best tracker. So
and then we
yeah.
get the ending where he does a Gandalf, so makes it assume that he's Gandalf
Follow
with
the
the line, the
nose.
follow of the nose, which kind of makes this not more not even more not less accurate than. It doesn't bother me. I'm just saying that it isn't accurate to
Yeah,
the appendices because Gandalf was supposed to arrive last, and he arrived
it could
in the
be a
third.
different. The few podcasts that I listened to always assume that he might be the blue wizard instead of the gray.
I know, but adding that line at the end, that was
Of
like
course, of course.
it should be Gandalf. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It should be him because they
yeah.
did that line and everything about him screams Gandalf. But I mean, yeah, they could do a red herring and switch it up, but um, that they said a specific line. I mean, they did it word for word,
Mm,
so it was like. If it was a little alluding to, then maybe it's like, oh, I like
Okay.
Gandalf. But this one exactly is exact line.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
should be
And the
Gandalf,
Blue
and it
Wizards, they weren't named. I think they're even their
I think they were
what
named, but they
happened to
left after. Like
yeah,
they went
even their
somewhere.
like yeah. So it could have been like Gandalf before he was gray or something like that. I don't know. Uh, but we'll
Cause
see.
he no, cause
I
he
mean,
landed last. He crashed last. Or I don't think he even crashed, but he
I
landed
don't know.
last. So
Yeah.
and that's how season one ends. Oh, we get this super cheesy scene of Sauron in a black cape
I
without.
actually pretty
I,
cool. I love cloaks.
I like the transition of he started with his eye,
It was just too on the nose for me, like
like the
walking into
eye, and then
Mordor. I did
see
like the
Mount
eye with the
Doom.
when they were
Yeah.
making the rings and it made like
Oh
the
yeah.
eye. That
Yeah.
was nice. But yeah, so that's how Lord of the Rings season one ends. The Rings of Power.
And they're
Let's
shooting
start
season
with
two now.
initial reactions and favorites beats of the story, Arnie.
For just these 2 episodes or the entire
Just
season.
two episodes.
Let's start with these two.
Um, of course, when the rings were being forged, because when in the first movies when they were talking about how Sauron deceived the elves into creating these rings. So now we kind of got the motivation. They want to stay in Middle Earth for a little bit longer. They need those rings of power, in order to delay the fading of their light.
Question though,
So,
why do they want to stay in Middle Earth a little longer?
well, because they need to destroy. Because the thing is, like the war that Morgoth started, I think it also threatened
Yeah,
the
it
light in
spreads.
Valinor, right?
Yeah,
No, but
that's the
even
that's
from Gil-galad, he was like, "There's no more war. There's no more bad guy. We're at peace. Why do we need to?"
yeah, but I mean, isn't it that if you give, eventually it'll spread
Yeah,
Which one?
the entire world
I
if you
thought
don't
our
stop
yeah.
it then.
which stop what?
If you don't stop anything in Middle Earth, eventually it'll cross
It
the
will
sea.
spread. And
It'll
the thing
spread.
is,
No, no, no. But
Gil-galad,
stop what? Because he
no,
The
because
evil.
they know that Sauron still lives. They just exiled Galadriel because he's kind of like Saw Gerrera. She's very focused on getting rid of Sauron,
okay.
and they fear that her focus might actually, which kind of did happen, will just make Sauron's power
Well,
greater, right?
did she? I don't know. Like,
Well,
I
in
think it's
in
more
the
of like
raft,
they
it,
didn't want to be that noisy
yeah,
in terms of how grave the problem is.
yeah,
So they kind of like delayed and delayed and
yeah.
delayed, and now
And the
it's
thing
suddenly
is,
too late.
no,
it's
but
kind of like what happened.
yeah, but
They discussed it, like, because for the elves, because they live forever, so a lot of them got really complacent, or like, let's do this slowly, not like, because Galadriel's more very gung-ho about it. It's like, there's always this urgency for her, whereas with Gilgalad, it's like, well, we could slowly heal Middle Earth, and you don't even have to be so aggressive with the destruction of these orcs and all that stuff, right? But yeah, so basically, going back to the motivations for the three rings of power, it makes sense. And then, of course, now there's going to be a debate if they've gotten the mithril from the dwarves, but it just shows you the contingency planning of Sauron. If the elves just gave the mithril, they would have waken up the Balrog sooner, and still destroy Khazad-dûm. So it's kind of like it's basically fated that Sauron will return, and yeah, it's
yeah,
just
but we know they didn't. They wouldn't have gotten the mithril.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's just that there's a lot of Plan B, C's, D's, up to Z for Sauron to return. Like, if he hasn't gotten the key, there's another way to get him to Mordor or something like that. So it's just, you know I wouldn't call it perfect planning, but it's just a lot of contingency planning, right? Uh,
I don't know,
the Isil
but I mean, if you think about it, how did the Halbrand? Did Sauron know that Galadriel would jump and he would be at that point in the sea? It kind of that was
See,
a,
that's the issue that
that's the
I still have
convenient
not answered.
that's
that's the
kind of
convenient one. The way I could explain that in my imagination is that Sauron knew of Galadriel, and she has a touch of darkness already because she experienced it because of when she lost her brother, right?
yeah,
And
but
it's kind of like
that's reaching a little bit.
it's
No, it's
reaching, but it's kind of like with you know you, if you're the source of all evil or darkness, you kind of like get the feeling of it.
sense it,
You
I
sense it,
guess.
like, yeah, it's like a spidey sense for that. So there's that, right? And the thing is,
I
like,
know,
if we
but
go
leaving it to
back,
chance if she was gonna go to Valinor or not, and waiting in the sea is like
well,
there were so many ways to approach her.
that's true.
This
I
and the
mean,
You know what
sea
I
is
mean?
so maybe, and again, this is also reaching because in the end, I think that Sauron always knew that Galadriel will be his queen,
hmm,
right? So he can sense her. Because
yeah,
how can you fucking find Galadriel and this giant sea, like giant
Uh,
sea.
The
That's a little
C is
bit
always
tough.
right, man. Come on.
Right? I
But
was sitting
yeah,
there. That's a lot. That's a very, very,
yeah.
very big sea. So I
I
don't
mean,
know how that works.
it's a major cinema scene, that's for sure. Cinema scene. But yeah, but even then, like the way he was just so nonchalant and abandoning those humans, right? When the beast was eating them, he's like, oh, okay, and then he only saves Galadriel. He didn't even try to save the others, but we just, yeah,
I mean, I do
but
like Halbrand. Like a lot of it makes sense. The King of the Southland. It's
yeah,
like on the nose, but it
eh,
wasn't.
yeah.
And
And the thing
saving
is,
Galadriel, it was all part. It's just that how
it's
he
long game.
found her. Like
Yeah, and the thing is, it's almost if you go back to biblical terms, like with Lucifer, like he's the fairest of them all, and then he became, you know, the
Yeah, that
enemy,
was
right?
kind of the thing. Like in the books, they always describe Sauron in human form as extremely attractive. So it's like
Yeah,
I already knew Halbrand. Like
no, I
you're in the
mean
short list, Halbrand.
most top most suspect lists. Halbrand was number one.
Yeah,
yeah. Because the stranger, I mean, we know it. I mean, if they said he is Sauron, okay, but still, it's Gandalf.
And
That's why when
the way he acted it, there were some scenes where even when he was like doing his powers,
yeah,
there was just too much gentleness in his eyes. Like
yeah,
you could see that there's purity
there's
there. There's
yeah,
innocence. There's niceness. Eh,
there's no cruelty. And whereas with Halbrand, when he was fighting those Numenorians in Numenor, oh, there's some darkness
eh,
there.
I know. I mean, I'm not a writer, but you know how I would have done this. I don't know if it's good, but for me, I would have like if the stranger really was Sauron, but meeting Nori changed him, and then somebody else stepped in and became the new Sauron.
became
Yeah,
Sauron. That would have been nice
yeah.
too.
That was
That's
It's
a
how I
good
kind of
would have
like
done
idea.
it.
avatars that, oh, this body is uncorrupted now, so let's move this essence. Yeah, it could be. It could be. It'll just be harder to follow for casual
Oh
audiences
yeah,
to
I
be.
know, I know.
Uh,
That's just how. I mean,
but yeah,
they've been fucking up the canon, anyways. I mean, not
uh,
fucking up. They've been changing it. I'm not.
yeah. I mean, it's an artistic direction, right? I mean, even the original films. I mean, Tolkien's estate was like, oh, it became an action movie. Well, that's how you sell tickets, man.
You have to.
Uh,
It's you have to package it in the medium. You can't
yeah,
have every
exactly.
single detail from the book, but
I
yeah,
read the books, and no, I prefer the movie. So, yeah, it's just it's like even like the elves helping out the Helm's Deep. I mean, I prefer that over having Tom Bombadil. You know, so it's like so
So
for
many people
me,
were
it's just
complaining
like,
about that.
oh no, Tom Bombadil. What's the point? What was the point, right?
Yeah, there's no connection to the
Like
overall story.
if he
It
is
was a
not
side
corrupted by
quest.
the ring, if he wasn't corrupted by the ring, why not just give it to him and then let him go to Mount Doom? Why even let Frodo do it? But whatever. So yeah, and another favorite scene was when, of course, during the reveal. So we go back to the raft and Galadriel and was being tempted by Sauron, and my goodness, she was pretty.
It is hot,
Yeah.
really hot.
Uh,
Morphin
She
Clark.
did say
Morphin
that
Clark.
her husband died, right?
She
She
implied.
did.
She
She
did. She did
implied.
say that
She
he
she
She
died,
did.
did.
right?
She said. She said.
I
And
never
her
saw him again
and
after
the
that,
name he
but
said was his the
Kale,
one
it's
Celebron
the
or
one in
Celeb.
the
It's the
movies.
one in the movies, right?
Yeah.
So either he comes back
So
alive or something, or she thought she died and then he's alive. But it's the same.
she
It's
was.
the same name, right?
It's the same name.
It's not
It's the
like she
same name.
married somebody else.
Nope. Yep.
No.
Okay.
So unless the ring reanimated him, or I don't know, maybe the
Could
ring
be.
of power gave her the power to find him because maybe he was just missing. It's kind of like with Isildur. I mean, I thought they
But
will reveal
Arnie,
that Isildur
you know more.
survived.
You know the lore more. The Ring of Power
Yeah.
controlled the elves' rings also.
Yes.
All of the
Yeah.
rings.
Everything's
All of
bound.
the rings. Okay, just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
So
So I.
I think there's 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So is the first season the elves ring. The second season is the dwarves ring.
Yeah,
The third season is
the nine.
the human mortal men
That's gonna be
rings,
a
and then we have.
hard, like, nine kingdoms, nine kings
Yeah, I mean,
So
you
that's why
are.
it's two seasons,
added
right?
to the already to
Oh
discuss.
my! I'm quite excited too because I will discuss it later. But go continue.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, I mean, even the forging of the rings. I mean, she sacrificed her brother's dagger. Elrond sacrificed Durin's gift, Mithril. Uh, Celebrimbor is like, first he was like, "Ah, I don't know how to do this.
Well,
It's
he
too
kind of
stubborn."
sacrifices the three gems that he had.
The three gems, yeah, I think it's Feanor's gems, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true creation involves sacrifice, and I'm like, oh wow. So yeah, it's a lot of. I was basically fanboying the entire episode of. Yeah, that's basically it. And what about you, John?
I when I was watching episode 7. So we've discussed before. Episode 6, badass. Durin, fucking amazing piece of cinema. It didn't have a lot of stories in them, but it was a badass version of fight after fight, ups and downs, etc. Episode 7, I typically do not like slow burns. I'm always a firm believer that you can always find a little bit of peaks and valleys within an episode, so it's not an entirely slow episode.
Mm,
Lord of the Rings or the Rings of Power is mostly a slow burn,
mhm,
but the last two episodes, I really I changed my mind about slow burns because
mhm,
everything was just so slow, very deliberate. Everything was just talking, speaking, a little bit of movement here and there, and then they were just like really focusing on the element at hand, whether it's the survival of the people, whether it's the fear of the Queen Regent not being able to read,
mhm,
or not being able to lead because she's now blind,
yeah,
to Nori being able to help his friend, the stranger. Everything was like, so for me, exactly what I wanted. This series to have kind of like started its crescendo, like it's denouement. Um, that being said, a lot a lot of the things that in our episode 7 and 8 are extremely telegraphed. Like the
mhm,
wizard, super telegraphed. Sauron, extremely telegraphed. How Celebrimbor was going to be, creating the rings. Well, that's essentially the series anyway, so it was gonna make it regardless.
yeah,
But having to figure out how that could be, that was one of those things where even though that the story was already there,
And
I like.
I just last comment on the rings, like the things that Halbrand told him weren't really mind blowing ideas.
mm,
I was like, you could have known that if you were the great Celebrimbor.
Yeah, no,
Like,
but yeah, that's the idea. And he so exactly their point was the thing that I want to land on is, whenever there is a thing that is, we telegraph, like, we know that he's gonna make the ring.
yeah,
So what I was looking for is like, how does he get to make the ring? And I'm extremely satisfied on how they land on that. Like,
yeah. It was earned.
yeah, it was earned. It's not cinema breaking. It's not
Yeah,
groundbreaking where, yeah, you're right, Chubax. It's like, anybody or most people would have thought about, extending the thing, but like, yeah, of course, like some materials make it weaker, amplify the power of Mithras. It's like, all right, now we're cooking with fire. So like,
mm,
it's not the most breakthrough idea, but I do
yeah,
love the idea that they're taking us through a journey on providing context on how these things are, while
yeah,
still providing a little bit of mystery. Because right now, all I know is that the rings cure the tree that the elves need.
hmm
I still don't know what the rings were, the the power of the rings are. Right? We've
Yeah.
never seen it. I've never seen it. Like, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the thing will do. Will it shoot fire? Will it control minds?
I think
Because
it's
all I know
just
is the
like
one ring
if
can make you
if
invisible.
they have it, it's gonna spread and protect them.
Yeah.
From what
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's why.
That's
So
what I
that's why
understand.
now
And also, it's
having
the one that's gonna have the rings is Galadriel, Gilgalad, and someone else. And
not
then
Her
Elrond.
hus- I think the
Gilgalad's
husband.
no Gilgalad's the one that becomes Elrond. He passes it down, but
Mm,
he doesn't have it at first. And then there's
yeah.
some I forgot the other one who has it, but it's not Elrond.
I
So I
think
was like,
I think it was her husband.
huh?
I think her husband, because in the movies
In the
they
movies, but
showed.
no, but I saw a name. It wasn't the husband. It was somebody else. But
Yeah, probably somebody else.
uh, I'm like, why
But the
she?
thing
Why
is,
does she get it? Like she's not the lord of
well,
anything. She's
Well, she's no,
well,
she's their best fighter.
she's
uh,
the
They're the
commander
best
of the
that
Northern
they
protector.
sent
Armies.
away. That
And the
I
thing
mean,
is, and the
Well,
thing too,
from the king's point of view, he wouldn't
yeah.
give it to Galadriel. That's all I'm saying. But maybe she
And the
got it
thing too is
already.
like it was her suggestion to make three. It should have been. It would have been like one or two. So maybe because she suggested to be the balance, basically the scale to balance the two. So she kind of earned that. Plus, plus she's badass too.
Keep going, Jong.
yeah,
But
but I think I only think that's because she is um she's kind of like their best protector.
Mhm.
So she is by default
Yeah.
going to be the thing. But again, I actually so I didn't even know the lore. I thought it was gonna be them three.
Oh,
Mm, well, I
Celebrimbor.
mean,
But yeah,
if they
Yeah.
follow it, I mean, they don't need to follow it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But
from
that's
what
the
we
thing. It's like
know,
I do appreciate that there's still enough things that kind of I know the outcome. And that's been an issue for this show. Like the rings
Mhm.
are gonna be made. There's gonna be three for the elves. But
Mhm.
now I'm actually satisfied how they get to that
Mhm.
conclusion. Like they
Yeah.
showed us how it's being made, the
Yeah.
context, why three. Like that,
Yeah.
those are like the few things that I was worried about if they were going to land. And for me, like a basic, I'm not a giant Tolkien fan, but even just those basic things, I really appreciated that we
Yeah.
got to that point. Even with Sauron, we know him. We know what he's going to do. We know that he's walking to Mordor. That's Mordor. I love how Mordor was made. I
Mhm.
love it. I love how seeing it, like why the orcs was tunneling, why it had to be there, why they had to take over that particular garrison, what was the sword for as a key to open the dams, like all of those. I love getting the context on how things is made, so I'm getting satisfied there.
Yeah.
And then now, like the bonus for me a little bit is the Sauron motivations. I like that they're providing us with kind of like I know it is manipulation, but if you don't think too hard, all the things that he's saying is making sense.
Yeah.
Like
They just
when
want to
he
heal the
was
land.
tempting Galadriel,
Mm.
I actually wish that he should have said yes, and they could have been cool. Like, and they might have been able to save the thing.
yeah, again, that's
Right?
that's the same as what he was saying at the start. The manipulation, like that's not really what he wants. We know that. It's like
I know, but
he's
like
just
for
showing it.
again, I said I like that we
He's
can
not
see that.
this. I mean, he's a master manipulator, but he's not this. He's not this nuanced. I mean, his goals are not that nuanced. We know
Yeah.
what he wants, but the way he gets there, he's very like
Yeah.
he'll do anything,
Plus,
and he's very
it,
smart.
it
So I like that part.
also
But
it also provides like because remember in the original movies, in Fellowship, so when Frodo offered the ring to Galadriel, so it's like a callback to that, right? Like a queen instead of a Dark Lord is a queen who's fair and whatever. And of course, she still refused because it's like it's not the first time that it happened to her that she was offered this kind of power. Uh, so it's there's that, and also going back to the Rings of Power, because in the movies or even in the books, I just get like, why are the elves leaving now? right, right when, but it seems like because they stopped using the three rings because they realized that they were deceived. Now they have to leave because otherwise they will not be able to survive Middle Earth. So it's a lot of callbacks. I'm excited for season two if they make the seven rings for the dwarves. So we'll see more dwarves. So yeah, I mean, and then
are
of
you done, Jong?
Yep.
Yeah, don't.
So yeah, so for
I
me, I mean, I enjoyed it. A lot of I mean, looks really good. Like again, the start of the episodes, episode 7 was just beautifully
Mhm.
lighted and done, and uh the action sequence, especially the stranger, was nice. Even if it was telegraphed, I did cheer when he did say that line in the follow the nose.
Follow the
But
nose.
um, my nitpicks is just again like a lot of the scenes that had weight were. I mean, we already know the ending, and it's if I like Isildur, like I don't know, that was we know he's alive, so like that was like unnecessary.
Yeah,
Like Elendil's grief was like, I know you have to to like act sad because you think he's dead, but we know he's alive. And then
yeah.
uh well, I did like the fight scene.
Mhm.
Um, I just I think the Halbrand turn was the was just a little rushed. Like
a little
everything
too fast.
he
It was
said
Little
with
too
within
fast.
half an
Celebrant
episode,
boy.
so yeah.
Yeah, with the Celebrant boy, they could have stretched it out. I mean, uh it would have been more Sauron-ish, like taking the long game and being more patient. And then this one is like he kind of extended himself, and then that's what maybe Galadriel caught on a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I did like I said a while ago. I found that Galadriel's turn at the end kind of make felt rushed also, but you did make sense when maybe she's a little corrupted. So
Hmm.
that I did like that. Uh, but yeah, it's a lot better than I expected coming in, but still not gonna.
Yeah.
It's still not reaching the high of highs for me because a lot of it is it's if it's either we already know the ending, or not
Hmm.
the ending, but we already know what's gonna happen, so it takes a little bit, or there's some uh repeat scenes, you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
homage,
Callbacks. Yeah.
callback. So it kind of, even though it was really well done, really well shot, really well acted, it's an homage to a previous scene, so of the same series. So
Mhm.
that took a little off from me. But I mean, what can you say about Morphin Clark? She's so hot. She's so
Queen.
pretty. And I do love the stranger's acting. He's like,
Yeah.
the turning, and his expressions really good. Nori was good too. Halbrand was just a little too on the nose at the end, but yeah, I'm excited to see where season 2 is going as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And considering uh what limited access Amazon had to the material, because they're not allowed to touch the first trilogy, and I think even the Hobbit they're not allowed to touch that. They can't do anything after, and so they're working on the appendices and maybe some of the letters that Tolkien wrote. I mean, considering what limitations they had, and of course the storytelling that they have to compress the timeline and all that stuff, I'm really impressed. Because at first I was like, I was worried at first because yeah,
Because
it's Isildur.
yeah, you're more of a canon fan than I am. For
Yeah,
me, I don't even care if they follow strictly. All I
yeah,
care about is just knowing that what ends. Like all this fight
yeah.
between Durin the third, and I mean, I love Durin.
Oh,
Everything about
Durin
him
the fourth.
and
Yeah, Tisa
Elrond, and I
and
mean,
Elrond. Yeah,
their friendship is like it makes Legolas and Gimli's look, not even great because they were just fighting. All this one is like genuine friendship, so it was good. But the fight with the dads, like, it's a little interesting that like, uh, if you see their argument, Durin is the right one, but because we
in
know the
the
effect, we know that
yeah,
the third one is correct. But still, we do know what's gonna end up with all the Mithril and the Balrog. So kind of took away a little bit.
yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Let's do a
it's
final round of our
Ratings.
final thoughts and ratings for the last two episodes of The Rings of Power. Start with you, Arnie.
I would have scored it a 10 if we had more Durin in the last episode. Like what Chubak said, I think the MVP uh, of this season one will be Durin for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tisa.
Durin Disa, basically. But basically Durin Disa and Elrond.
It could have been
But
during
anyways,
Elrond, except that I still see Hugo weaving. He's still not.
yeah,
He's not. Especially with
yeah,
Galadriel matching up with Kate Blanchett, Morphin Clark. You know the characters.
yeah.
Elrond just not. The way he, the
He
way he
looks like
looks as
Barney
well.
Stinson. Huh?
It's like it's not. There's no. This Elrond looks like a too much of a politician, and the other one is like a lord. You know, like lord. He's a lord
Yeah,
Elrond. Like so. Yeah,
yeah.
but Durin. I mean, fuck. Durin's awesome.
Durin, like yeah, because for me, Gimli. I mean, even watching, I need to finish the Hobbit series, but basically the first one movie, none of the dwarves connected with me so far. It was still Gimli for me, but Durin, this one, not even having a fight scene, like an actual like killing
Yeah,
orc
that's true.
scene, he was
But
still bad. You could
uh,
tell he's badass.
is it confirmed that Durin the Fourth is the one that they find in the Fellowship in
Oh,
the coffin?
I'm not sure.
I have to
Because
confirm that, but
when they said like during the third, during the fourth, I said, maybe they're gonna be playing with this, not the during that.
yeah,
Remember in the Lord where they
yeah,
find the book and then
yeah.
Durin is like dead and Gimli was crying.
Yeah, because I think he's a relative of Durin. I think because Gloin is, I think, a cousin of
Gimli son of Gloin.
a Durin. So I don't know if it's the
I
Durin.
know, so that's.
Yeah, so
But I mean, like,
which makes sense. Like for him to be mourning that, right? I
yeah.
mean, if you're just a normal subject, like yeah, okay, King died.
But yeah,
But
he's close. He's close. He's royalty.
yeah,
But I mean, even that scene is another callback. Like, but I still
yeah,
love it. Like the Elrond Durin scene where Elrond trying to confess that he failed the game on purpose,
hmm
and then he was like, "I was winded in the end." Like he
yeah.
was just
Did it though?
it's a
Like
it's a callback to Legolas and Gimli drinking, and then
yeah.
Legolas like, "I feel tingling," and then but that's all he felt, and then the Gimli's
Like,
like the one that dropped out.
like Durian's like, well, the reason I won because I don't drink when I'm fighting. Like that's why I win. Like, did you win though? That is such. It's something that we would have done, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
yeah.
what's your
So again,
score?
so it will be a 9 because I needed more Duran Elrond interaction. Like I said, MVPs Duran. We forgot to do the MVPs, but for the other show, but we could follow up on that one
Oh, I
later
think
on.
it's
But
gonna be
anyways,
Jen anyways.
and yeah, exactly. But anyways, yeah, a 9, a high 9.
9.
I'll go on you, Coach Chubax. Like
Uh,
I've always been a 9 on the show. I just it looks extremely so it's just beautiful to watch. It's very calming. This is what $500 million worth of production for one season or at least two seasons looks like. Because even like
Very
when
cinematic.
Rory was leaving, right?
Mhm.
And there was like these little light particles and the
Mhm.
framing was great. The background was amazing. Like everything I look at this, like Halbrand's cloak, of course, Morphin Clark's face, like everything is
Mm.
just I like staring at everything. Like even Durin and Disa, they're like everything looks beautiful, everything looks lived in.
Mhm.
So just it's like a visual masterpiece. And I do like the idea, like for me, even if I know what's happening, being able to walk through the context and the house and the whys
Mhm.
is satisfying for me because I was still even though I was very high with the show I thought that it was gonna get old like like all of these backstory but yeah, I love seeing how Mordor was built. I love how the rings were so difficult to make and the reason behind it too. But now I'm looking forward to how the rings actually work, what they actually do apart from
Yeah.
saving a few trees,
Yeah.
right? So that's going to be extremely fun. Like, what are those gems that they put there? Does each gem have a different power?
Yeah.
But now I'm extremely excited if they can continue making this type of quality of cinema. I'm actually excited not just for the Lord of the Rings, but what other IP will Amazon Studios bring in and put this much effort on, and bring to the masses? Because like it's, I hope that there will be like a movie screening of maybe episode 6 and episode, oh, actually maybe episode 6, 7, and 8, if there's like a theater screening, an IMAX screening of it. That might be an experience to see. I want to watch Udun
Yeah.
like burn in high def. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very, very excited. Chubax?
Yeah, I'll go with the Nate.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for season 2 as well.
I want to find out why the dwarves needed the seven rings, right?
Yeah, we see those, like, why 7 for the dwarves? Maybe the mortal men's like, wait.
We
Well,
need
the
nine
dwarves
because
were
it's
like,
more than
wait, you
seven.
got 3, we'll make 7. And the mortal man's like, wait, you got 7, we're gonna get 9. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to understand. I never really thought
I think
about
it's just
why the number.
I think it's pretty easy. I mean, the number is a question, yeah, but I mean, with the rings with the elves having the rings. I mean, if I was Lawrence, just like, hey, they have rings, and they're more powerful in one sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because the
So
thing is
I
that
and yeah.
because I think Celebrimbor said this power needs to stay with the elves. So
Mhm.
there alone is already like a start of the corruption, right? They're not even willing to share it. So the dwarves probably maybe to fight the Balrog they needed the seven rings,
So yeah, we can speculate whether
right?
is Halbrand going to whisper in the ears of the elves, or it's a totally different thing. Like the elves will figure it out themselves,
Yeah, or
right?
maybe how Brad becomes a dwarf because there's many names, many forms, right? So we never know because we only seen the Misty Mountains kingdom, Kazan Doom of dwarves, but there's other kingdoms that we haven't seen before, or at least I haven't seen before.
Yeah. So is
So
it 7 because there's 7 dwarven kingdoms? It is 7 because they just wanted to double plus 1. I don't
double
know.
plus
I'm
one,
excited to figure that out. I hope that's second season. So
and
awesome.
then the nine from the men because there's what, Rohan,
They're the weakest.
Gondor.
They're the one that's they want more.
Yeah, because they're doomed to die. So they really made the point. Plus the song at the end. Did you-
Oh yeah, well the song was just like because like I totally forgot when the rings were made. But it's like wait. We have a couple of more
There's
species that will need rings, and then the song's like 3 for the elves,
yeah,
7 for the world,
yeah,
9 for the mortal men that are doomed to die. It's like, oh shit,
yeah.
we
That's
do
why
have 5 seasons. All right,
five
cool.
or 6 seasons in a movie. Like,
All right. That's it for our review of. We're closing out another TV series, TV show, cinematic masterpiece, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, this season. So that caps our 2-episode week of season enders. If you have not watched or listened to it yet, we reviewed the season finale, the last 3 episodes of um of She-Hulk, and then we will have more shows to come in the next few days this week. So button, it helps subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app of choice as well. We particularly like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon. With that, on behalf of my brothers Chubax and Arnie, thank you for watching till the end, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.